welcome to theLionhearted presents Storyteller Sessions. We're here with Kevin Schlereth.
Hello. We're glad to be here.
And also Jay.
Yes.
They performed for us today here at the Common Thought Art Gallery in Hanover, Pennsylvania. They performed two songs for us. Kevin or Jay, or both. Can you tell me what two songs did you perform?
Well, I wish it were that easy. The first song is definitely called Try Hard. The second one doesn't really have a name. I told Richie to call it Roof on his file.
And until that time, I'll either name that on the video that comes out, or
just
give
like
redacted
you can
name.
name it for us.
Just look at the name of the video.
Just beat me out anytime I say the word.
Oh man! All right. Well, let's just start with Try Hard, since that was the first one we did. Can you tell me just what is the story behind Try Hard?
Oh, okay, yeah. So Try Hard is one of the harder ones to explain. I'm not sure why I chose a hard one to explain for this setting, but so maybe these guys can help. So a few years ago, I put out a record called Legend. That the central theme of that album was sort of how kind of words are hard, and you can like say one thing and like contextually it might have two different meanings. And I think Try Hard's a little bit conceptually left over from that, just thinking about the idea of giving up, and how there's sort of like a negative connotation to giving up. You know, like, oh, you gave up, you shouldn't have done that. But then there's also sort of, I guess, another way to think about it in terms of, you know, if you place it in the context of Christian faith, there's sort of maybe a submission or a, you know, stop trying to bear it all on your own. Like you if it was as simple as trying to whatever, have a fulfilling life, you know, like who wouldn't just try to have it, but that there's actually a lot of fulfillment in the understanding that you can't try hard enough, that you just can't.
Are there any examples of maybe times in your life where you've had this like personally happen, where you dealt with this element of submission and kind of fought it, or maybe like where you actually learned this lesson yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it's sort of a perpetual thing, like that I feel maybe a momentary escape from, like, and then I kind of tend back in that direction. So I think like the song was serves as like a powerful reminder to me to like keep examining that. But yeah, I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a specific time. I think in all things I have that kind of personality that can take on if I just you know, put it on my shoulders and work really hard, I can get it done. And I think, yeah, when you think about managing relationships like that, and just really just your life in general, it's I just don't think any of us would end up being really successful in that. So yeah, I don't have there's not like I was trying to do this one specific thing.
There wasn't like the aha epiphany moment in your hero's journey.
No, I don't really think so. I think so. Like the song, I also think that there's so like it. A friend of mine, Dave Shea, actually kind of articulated this, I think, for the first time to me. But once he said it, I was like, "You're right." But I think the song kind of works as a sister song with another one of our songs called Tables, where I think like in tables you see this kind of like this picture of a woman kind of like sort of who comes to understand that like resolve isn't necessarily the answer, and it's just sort of a submission to a placing yourself under God that is sort of liberating. And I think like Triarch's interesting because so I think it's definitely like that's the home of it for me, is this idea of stop trying and to fix yourself and instead submit to God. Understand that that no amount of sort of squeezing is going to produce a fruit out of your life, that it's a transformation and like it's the Spirit of God that produces fruit, and that's not our trying hard. But I think that's a constant lesson I'm revisiting.
OJ, in being part of this and performing the song, like, are there any moments you've had in maybe epiphanies through performing the song or whatnot where you've had the same thing kind of happen, where you've tried to take on some by yourself and kind of had to realize that giving it up was actually a better choice for you?
Every day. I feel like every time we sing that song, I like, even if it's just a small area that I'm like trying to take on myself, like if it's like loading the van or something, like, and like anything, or making tea, like I feel like it's been encouraging. Like I can understand how it might seem discouraging, but like for me it's been encouraging, feeling like understanding like it's not up to me to succeed and like do things correctly, like that God is sufficient, and he's in control, and he is the one who is perfect, and I will never be perfect, so I don't need to like have that pressure to try to do things perfectly or act perfectly. So.
Cool. Awesome. Does any of this tie in with the second song, or are they kind of just exclusive in their messages?
They're pretty separate, but I bet if we talk long enough, we'll see the connection. That's funny. Yeah, I don't really know.
Well, for those who forgot, we don't quite know what the second song's title is.
Right.
But is there a specific story behind it, or is it more just like a philosophical?
Yeah, no, I mean, I really like the sort of genesis of this song because it kind of ties into, I think, our story as like traveling musicians in the community we find ourselves in. There's a good chance that if you've like seen us play, that you've heard us talk about sort of the like pitfalls of community, the way that community becomes this sort of idol. Yeah, it's just like we're fixated on it, and it's very it's obviously the glue that kind of binds all of this stuff together that we do, but it's also it can be something that we make more than it should be. And so a lot of times I feel this compulsion to sort of like remind myself and everyone that can hear just that community feels good because it's a way that we reflect God's image in us, that God's been in community with himself always, but it's not when you worship the gift above the giver, that's problematic. So I feel like I just talk about this all the time. And a couple years ago at the first Bloodline Fest, I was able to stick around and go to church on Sunday morning, and Pat Quigley gave the message, and he just sort of, it was like a word study. He had it on his heart to just talk about carrying, and he talked about carrying in like 3 different places in the Bible, but one really resonated with me, and that was the story of these friends that carry this man that needs to be healed to Jesus. They like drop him down through the roof of this building. I'd like to see see what that actually looked like. I can't quite picture it in my mind. Like there's just like a hole in a roof, I guess. I don't really know, but they drop him in, and so these friends carry this person to Jesus, and Jesus heals him and forgives him of his sins, which is bizarre to anybody that sort of follows Christianity. It's not what we talk about most of the time. A lot of people will tell you that if you want to be saved, that you have to say this prayer and do this thing, and that we don't talk about the idea that the faith of your friends could lead to the forgiveness of your sins, and that's just a wild story. And it's sort of this like ultimate counterbalance to my sort of usual rhetoric about community that's like encouraging everyone, well, just like take care, don't make it more than it is. But then I love that other aspect of it, the sort of more mysticism piece that you're like, yeah, but that one time Jesus forgave somebody because his friends like believed in him. And like, yeah, just what does it look like to be someone that doesn't worship community, but engages in it in such a way that should God choose to, that's something that could happen, that we might advocate for our friends before God. And I think that's a really special reminder, and it's so cool to me the way that those things kind of come together, where like one week you're talking about how this is such a we like abuse this thing, and then the next week a friend can just like steer you into a slightly different direction. And I think that's a really weird story.
And to have a person possibly change your life and you weren't even trying. I never even thought of that story that way. That's really cool. There's the element of balance that's important, that I like the way you talk about it, where it's okay to appreciate what's good about something without diving onto the other side of it and turning it into something more than what it's supposed to be.
Sure.
And being able to like hold that where it's supposed to be, instead of letting it avalanche down at you.
Sure. And I think maybe that's the thread between the songs, that like just like whether it be words or ideas, there's sort of kind of like a two sides to each of it. So like in Try Hard, when we're like, there's only so much you could do with a life, like one person can hear that and be like really discouraged, like, oh, like you're right, like there's only so much you can do, and that's like discouraging, and it's heavy, and you might feel like really bad about it. But another person might hear it and see like, oh yeah, like you can't do it all, like, and that's a good thing. Like there's a liberation in knowing that you can't do it all. And then you look at the community centered song, Beep, and it's that same kind of thing. Like you can take, you can sort of hear it wrong or interpret it wrong, and I think that's just a really interesting thing about existing in bodies that use language. I think it's really hard to get down to the heart of things sometimes, or it's easy to misrepresent something good into something not as good.
Nice. We did it. We connected them. Any other thoughts, Jay, with the untitled Kevin Schlereth project, aka Bleep?
I really love that song. I think it sounds sick, but I've been enjoying playing it at shows where, like, I don't know, I feel like it reminds me to like pray and be an advocate for my friends who don't know Christ, that God would like make himself known to them.
So like you could lower somebody down through
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the community thing is like I think community is an idol whenever that's what you're looking to, like when you're looking to your friends for hope. But like in that story, I feel like they're like the hope that they had for their friend was Christ, and like I don't know, I feel like, you know, I hope that I can when I'm in community, that I hope I can, like, that's who I'm pointing to, like that's what I think.
Okay.
I almost forgot the most important part of the song. There's been this sort of phenomenon in a community that we are a part of, where you know, a lot of people have written songs that sort of boost a line from a Chris Bernstorff song, you know, or like,
of which I'm very guilty.
Which you are a part of that trend. There are several. I won't name them all.
Literally, my Storyteller Sessions song is the one that does that.
Nice.
Awesome.
We could definitely put out a whole comp some way. We should do that. Maybe it's a big thing to support Chris. And I thought that was really awesome. And so one of I don't make many goals when I'm songwriting. I kind of words spew out, and I'm like, okay, I guess that's a song. But I was really excited to boost a line from one of the boosters himself, Key Young, Jeff Stuckel. So we very specifically wanted to have the line, I hope that my friends are by my side, which is one of his lines from a song that he has, what's it called, Wildfire Eden?
Oh, I don't know.
You know, Die
You should
Wild.
just listen to all of them.
But yeah, so if anyone else wants to follow that trend, I hope that my friends are by my side. Just keep that going. Maybe
We'll keep that one going, yeah.
We can lure Jeff out of retirement.
That'll be the next, you know, what do you call it? Like a conga line of boosting.
Yes.
All right, it's on the internet. It'll be on the internet when this hits. So, speaking of the internet, where can all the human beings find you guys and all of your music and such things?
If you
very
can spell
challenging.
Schlereth, you're in.
So here's what you do.
Actually, I have a story to
Google
tell.
Kevin
I have a story I have to tell. When I met Kevin years ago, I was like getting people's email addresses because I was like, I need all these friends. So I was like, here's a book. Can you give me your email or something? Like, I wanted to keep in touch with all these new people. And Kevin Schlereth, it just says under it, Google Kevin Schlereth. I still have that. It always makes me laugh.
It'll work, and it's cool. You should do it. It's like a little Easter egg for yourself. Google
Just-
Kevin Schlereth.
You'll see in the
We'll show how to spell it down here.
Yeah, down below it says, it'll show you how to spell Schlereth. If you Google Kevin Schlereth, you'll find all your needs. So thank you guys for this, and
It was our sincere pleasure.
God bless y'all.